Rick Harrison's Pawn Stars, once a successful family business, is now falling apart due to scandals, lies, and lawsuits. Chumley, the comic relief of the show, gets caught with substances and guns while Corey makes bad choices. The truth about the show comes out, and the truth about the family's fall is worse than you think. Rick's own mother, Joanne Harrison, accused him of manipulating her into signing over her stake in the business while she was recovering from a coma. She sued, claiming she was owed hundreds of thousands in missing cash and assets. Rick denied it all, blaming outside influences. However, a legal battle dragged the family's name through the mud, but a revelation threatened to shatter everything. Bigos Harrison had his own set of troubles, including public intoxication, property damage, and a lawsuit over a wrecked RV. One bad decision after another raised questions about the authenticity of the show's transactions. When it seemed like things couldn't get worse, Rick's son took the chaos to a whole new level, a crime so serious and unforgivable that it landed him behind bars for life. The Empire's reputation has been slowly rotting for years, with every scandal, lawsuit, and betrayal chipping away at what once seemed untouchable. The Pawn Stars show the legacy all tainted, and the Empire stood on shaky ground with every scandal, lawsuit, and betrayal chipping away at what once seemed untouchable. Corey, the protagonist, spirals into drunken bar fights, reckless behavior, and financial disputes. His rap sheet keeps growing, but he is still smiling for the cameras like nothing happened. The truth is that Pawn Stars has become less about history and more about damage control, becoming a reality show clinging to relevance. The reality show, One by One, was a show that became a scandalous soap opera with fake scenes and exaggerated prices. The show's credibility was lost as the appraisers were exposed, and customers began questioning the authenticity of their appraisals. The lawsuits against the shop led to angry customers accusing it of shady dealings, misleading appraisals, and fraud. Rick, an engineer who used to work on Tucker automobiles, built a unique bike that could fetch anywhere from $12,000 to $20,000. However, most of these bikes were destroyed or vanished off the face of the earth. Rick's son, Chumley, was one of the owners of one of these bikes, which was pristine, never repainted, and tampered with. Rick's reckless choices made everything worse, and Chumley received a fat bonus of $1,111,000 in cash. Chumley decided to invest his savings in a jeweler to get gold teeth for his bike. Rick tried to invest in Apple or Google, but Chumley didn't hear any of it in his mind. He decided to buy the gold teeth, strutting them out and envisioning his blinged-out smile dancing in his head. The show's reputation was damaged, and the business struggled to recover from the backlash. The show's reputation was further damaged when Rick's son, Chumley, stole a bike worth $50,000. The show's failure to recover from the backlash and the subsequent lawsuits further weakened the business's reputation. The story revolves around a man named Chumley who is in the process of buying a car that he believes will be a treasure. The car, which has been painted with expensive wheels and a custom sound system, is a classic example of a junker's car. The seller, who has many cars, is hoping to sell it for $2,500, but the car is a money pit. The seller's decision-making skills are questionable, as he believes that the car is worth $11,000 alone. Rick, the voice of reason, throws out a $1,000 counteroffer, but before anyone can pull Chumley away, he is locked in at $2,000. This situation is similar to the pawn shop's most reckless spender who had acquired a car he had no business owning. Rick, who has seen his fair share of financial disasters, is unable to keep a straight face. He is locked in at $2,000, just like the pawn shop's most reckless spender. The next stop is Customs, a shop that specializes in turning bad ideas into even worse ones. Chumley returns a few days later, grinning like an idiot ready to unveil his masterpiece spoiler. Rick, who has seen his fair share of financial disasters, cannot keep a straight face. $2,000 was bad enough, but now Chumley has sunk an extra $3,000 into the car, totaling $5,000. The story highlights the importance of considering the potential consequences of making such decisions, as well as the potential consequences of not doing so. The story highlights the importance of being cautious when making decisions and the consequences of not doing so. The story revolves around a family shop that sells rare collectibles and antiques. The owner, Chumley, is overjoyed with the car's ability to bounce up and down on command, but the shop's eldest member calls it the most ridiculous thing he has ever seen. The shop's eldest member even offers the old man a ride, which Chumley finds unimpressed. The next case involves the infamous jukebox, which was supposedly a vintage collector's piece. The seller, eager to sell the jukebox, talks about its rarity and how music lovers would trip over themselves to own it. However, the jukebox is a nightmare due to its ancient wiring, cracked casing, and barely working. The seller, Rick, attempts to convince Chumley that the deal is worth it, but the man is too far gone. Rick sweetens the deal by suggesting that it could be flipped for 10 grand if the right person comes along. By the time the dust settles, Chumley has burned another 3 grand on the jukebox. Harrison, a wise businessman, turns a dingy shop into a TV empire on the screen. He is known for his handshake and word of mouth, but the truth behind staged haggling and scripted real deals is messier. In the event that the issue is ultimately brought to light, it is not only humiliating, but also detrimental to one's career. Pawn Stars has been brought to its knees, and the harm that was inflicted against the store has been made. Pawn Stars was a well-known tourist destination that depended on the faith that customers had in its brand and reputation in order to appropriately value and appraise items. On the other hand, confidence began to erode as suspicions began to circulate that not all legitimate objects were, in fact, genuine. This resulted in litigation, controversies, and public humiliation. In the case of the Turning Point gold coin scandal, the firm in question was one that plastered Rick Harrison's name all over their advertisements in an attempt to persuade individuals to purchase rare pieces they said were made of gold. As soon as consumers discovered they had been tricked, the firm vanished into thin air, leaving behind clients with empty wallets and a more irate disposition. There was a steady stream of lawsuits filed by irate former supporters who had become steadfast adversaries. The last bombshell was the one that could not be fabricated. It was the one that did not involve questionable investments or unethical business dealings. The one that resulted in his kid being sentenced to confinement. Not for a few months, but for a couple of years for the rest of his life. Although Pawn Stars had been a well-oiled machine that created entertainment out of mundane transactions, the program was nothing more than a show that had been planned, polished, and edited for the purpose of creating the appearance of television. Illusions are not permanent, and the truth that was much more unpleasant was even more unpleasant. Trust was the foundation upon which Rick Harrison built his empire, but he then proceeded to destroy it one controversy at a time. Tales were told by employees who had been working at the store for a considerable amount of time regarding how things were really conducted. These tales included backrow transactions, manipulated sales, and stage interactions that were meant only for the purpose of providing entertainment rather than for the purpose of conducting legitimate business operations. Those who were on the inside started talking to workers who had been working at the company for years, and they discovered that the reality program had never truly been true at all. Pawn Stars was a fiasco that resulted in a loss of confidence and reputation, as well as a wave of public embarrassment and litigation. In conclusion, Pawn Stars was a disaster,